All right, so we have quite the agenda today. I hope we get to all of it. So let's start at the top of the mat with our hands together and our feet together. Just take a breath. On your next exhale, lower the arms by your sides. Let's inhale to reach up. We'll grab hold of the right forearm with the left hand. Just do a gentle little pull over into a side bend. And as you're doing this, try to draw your belly in a little bit more so that you feel somewhat denser in your midsection. Let's rise up through center, then just change the hands and exhale over to the other side. You'll feel a lot more secure going into the side bend if you can draw the belly in. Okay, we'll come through center and release into a fold, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. And just step to tabletop for your exhale. Knees under hips, spread the fingers. Let's curl the toes and lift the knees 1 inch off the ground. Keep everything still. The weight in the right and left hand is the same. Step your right foot back into a plank, a little bit to a diagonal right, and then your left foot back. And bring the right foot into your tabletop again, and left foot in. And just do this at your pace. Right foot out, right foot in, left foot in. And the knees are not going to touch down when we step into that tabletop. It'll be the heavy-handed tabletop. We're just trying to keep some stillness here. Do one more round. The feet will step sort of to the edges of the mat. The next time you're in that heavy tabletop, just lift the hips up and back for downward dog. Step the feet back a little more so the dog shape is more natural. Feet at hips width. And belly drawing in. Let's inhale forward to plank. Exhale either chaturanga or to your belly. Inhale for cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Heels up high for an inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, look forward, step or jump. Feet to hands, inhale. Fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Hold again for the exhale. Halfway up, inhale. We'll come to that tabletop again. So first just measure it out. You can have the knees down as you do that. If you have any wrist issues, adjust now. And then lift the knees up just 1 inch. Nothing else changed. Our belly's drawing in. And let's step the left foot back, the right foot back, left foot in, right foot in. You can go any pace you want. I find that if I go slower, I have a better chance at keeping the weight distribution even through the hands and arms so that the hip bones are still facing down. The next time that you're in your tabletop, we'll press it to downward dog. Adjust your feet as needed. Push the ground away. Let the armpits rise up toward the ceiling, even as the chest moves back toward your legs. Let's rock forward to plank. Inhale. Chaturanga or your belly, exhale. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale to your downward dog. Heels up high, inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, and jump after the exhale when you're empty so that you can inhale at the top. Fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Fold again for the exhale. Halfway up for the inhale. We'll step to tabletop, but this time we'll come down to the elbows and find forearm plank. We'll just stay here with a neutral back. If it's too much, just put your knees down. Keep pressing your heels back and draw your belly in so it feels like you're somewhat defying gravity with the belly. Just take one more breath. Walk the feet in, so it's down dog B. Dig your pointer finger and thumbs into the floor as you walk your feet in, because that's when the hands are going to tend to shift. So as the feet walk in, you have to be a little bit more diligent about anchoring. The same idea with the arms here. Our armpits are rising up toward the ceiling, a hollow feeling, and we push our chest a little closer to the legs. We wind up with an opening in the shoulders that is somewhat difficult to achieve, but it's the same thing you would do in a handstand. Okay, let's meet in a straight arm downward dog. Next, inhale, rock forward to plank. Exhale to bend the elbows. Inhale to arch. Exhale to downward dog. Let's walk hands to feet. You can bend the knees however much you need to get your big toe grip. First two fingers and thumbs. Inhale. And exhale to fold. I like to shake out the head and neck here. Let's roll the shoulders back so it feels like your shoulder blades are moving up toward the ceiling. Next, inhale, straighten the arms so the chest moves forward and walk yourself into downward dog. Once in down dog, let's lift the right leg up for an inhale. Step to the hands for an exhale. Warrior one, inhale. And let's bring the right arm under the left so it's eagle arms. Palms together if possible, elbows up a little bit, thumbs away from your nose. We'll just be here for a total of 3 breaths. And I've been talking, so it's really just one more. Let's release arms up, inhale. And chaturanga for your exhale. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. We'll step the left foot forward. Anchor that back heel, reach up, inhale. And twist the arms right under left. So it's really about keeping that back leg straight, as if the edge of your right foot is helping you push your right hip forward. One more breath. The inhale will allow us to reach up. Exhale for your chaturanga. Inhale for your back bend. Exhale for your downward dog. Hands back to feet. This time, hands under the feet, toes by the wrists. Bend your knees as much as you need to. But get the shoulders to move up toward the ceiling. Push your feet through your hands so that you feel like you're anchoring, and then you can get your butt up higher. Okay, next inhale, straighten the arms again, chest forward, walk into your downward dog. Let's lift the right leg up high, inhale. Step it to the hands, exhale. Warrior one again, inhale. This time interlace your fingers behind the back. I like to bend the elbows in order to roll the shoulders back, but however you want to do it. Now we'll reach our knuckles toward our back foot. Open through the pecs. We're going to be doing some binds today, so we're just trying to nudge into the shoulders. I find that the more proficient I get in handstand, the less proficient I get in binding. Let's reach the arms up for an inhale. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Left leg up, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Warrior one, inhale. Interlace behind the back. The way that feels a little goofy, so your fingers have to think about it a bit. Think about lifting the thumb off your leg, squaring your ribs, your collarbones to the front of the mat. But without changing the legs, release the arms up. And exhale for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Walk the hands to the feet again. This time for crisscross applesauce. So we'll bend the knees in order to get the arms around the outside of the legs. And we'll cross the wrists between the shins and hold on to opposite shin with the hand. As you feel comfortable, straighten the legs more and more. This arm position really pancakes you onto your legs. Also, it helps you squeeze your shins in a bit toward one another, which then, like a seesaw, means you can let your thigh bones widen apart a little bit, creating more space. Okay, release your grip. Walk into your downward dog. Pause here for a moment to get your armpits lifting, your chest reaching back. So it feels a little bit less like an arch through your upper back. Let's lift the right leg up high, inhale. Step forward to the hands, exhale. Warrior one, inhale. Let's bring the arms to cactus for a moment. Maybe press your knuckles back a little bit more. And keep the strength in the back foot, but lift the heel. So this is helping your balance by pressing the ball of the foot down. And lower the knee gently, Anjaneyasana. We'll reach just out to the side, palms up. Try to get a rotation in the shoulders that makes your thumb closer to the floor than your pinky. Take one more breath here. And keep that rotation in your shoulder. Start to bring your fingertips down toward the floor, just under your hips. They don't actually have to touch, but it will feel like your thumbs are trying to touch your back knee. Okay, hands to the floor. Step back, vinyasa. Try the other side, left leg up high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. Warrior one. Into cactus. So sometimes it's tempting in cactus to have either the fingers forward or the elbows too far forward. So bring it back as much as you can. You shouldn't have back pain here. If you do, just make it a lunge instead of a warrior. And we'll spin the back heel up. And very gently place the knee down. Send the arms straight out to the sides, about shoulder height. Heavy through the thumbs. It should feel like quite a lot in the shoulders and in the triceps. I even feel this down the arm to the pinky finger. Let's keep that rotation. Just start to lower the fingers. And as you come down with the fingers, you're going to have to keep that rotation in your mind. so that it feels like your thumbs are going to touch your body. Your pinkies are reaching out to the sides of your mat. Okay, ooh, hands down. Let's step back, vinyasa. Okay, right leg up high, inhale. Step forward. Doesn't have to be all the way to top of your mat, whatever. We're gonna just come into Ardha Chandrasana. Balance on the right leg. Lift the left arm up. Look up if you can. Take a few more breaths there. And Anuk, your top shoulder has to move back. Yeah, even more. Keep going. Good. All right, turn this into triangle pose. Gently step back with that left foot. Your right hand is already on the floor, so it might stay there, or jump it onto the foot or shin or block. And think about getting your right leg super straight. Because I know the sequences that we're doing today, and we need to deal with that hamstring. Okay, let's inhale to rise up. Adjust your feet so that you're square to the top of your mat. Your right foot will move over to the right a little bit. Left foot will be at a diagonal to the left. Let's just keep our hands on our hips. Inhale. And just come halfway down for your exhale. Send your right hip back a little more. So literally with your hand, push it back. And see if that changes your right foot. It shouldn't, but it might have. So you need to now pay more attention to your foot, push into the ball of the foot. Okay, lower the left hand to wherever you'd like it to be for twisted triangle. And either keep your right hand where it is or reach up. And the ball of the right foot continuously pushes down and helps us get the hips square, which in turn helps us twist deeper, which in turn opens up some energy pathways. Okay, let's unravel and just step back for your vinyasa. If you have any wrist or elbow issues, skip vinyasas until the issue resolves itself, even if that is a few months. Okay, lift the left leg up and bring it forward somewhere for your Ardha Chandrasana. The weight shifts into the left foot, right hip up, right arm up. And we're just doing this before triangle today because this creates the same opening, but in a way that's a little bit easier for the hip. Not easier for your balance, but easier for your hip joint to accept the position. Okay, a little bend in the left leg so that you can step back. Find your triangle pose, trikonasana. We're extending the left armpit away from the hip. It's easy to do that on the top side of the body, so that's just why I mentioned the bottom side. You're doing it on the top side also, but it'll sort of happen automatically for the top. Okay, so for the rising up, draw your belly in because you need to have some back support and use an inhale. And we'll adjust the feet so we square to the top of the mat. Point your hip bones forward. Inhale and fold just halfway down. And if you have any pains, you can start to adjust with it here. Maybe you want to bend your front leg. So square up, use your hands to help you. And when you're ready, right hand down somewhere. Could be on either side of the foot. If you want it to be a little easier to twist, be up on your fingertips or on a block. Press into the ball of your left foot. Get your legs as straight as you can for right now. Okay, and let's unravel. Step back, vinyasa. Okay, we're going to jump through and have a seat. Take a little detour. Let's straighten the legs out in front of us and press the left leg down so your right leg comes up a bit, just like 8 inches or something. And lower the right leg, lift the left. Whew, it's hard. Lower the left, lift the right. So the tendency here is to lean back. Try not to. This is one of those do as I say, not as I do moments. If I see the video later, I'll see that I'm leaning back, but I'm trying to keep my shoulders over the hips. Now let's just take one more round of switching. So you're really using your quads and your hip flexors to get this leg up. Okay, so into Krounchasana we go. Either keep your left leg straight or fold it back like Virasana. Either way. Then lift your right leg up, hold the foot, and start to pull it in toward you. And it will be the same for your right leg, whether or not you have chosen to Virasana up your left leg. You're going to use partly the strength of the leg, partly the strength of the arms to bring your shin closer to your face. I need to often shake out my neck and head here because I get real tense. Take one more breath. We'll let the arms straighten, and we'll try to keep the leg where it is for a moment. Just frame it like you would a, this is so knee. Take it to an almost Bhekasana. We're going to try to then lift into Bhekasana from there. I'm just spinning around so you can see the second leg. Those of you with the legs straight, bend it. So here we go into Bhekasana, which we've done many times. Our left foot presses into the floor to get the knee up. I'm not going to worry about extending the leg back. Instead, I'm just going to try to get the foot off the ground and then put the knee on the left arm. So you went from this place where the knee was centered by the chest, and you have to put it onto the arm. So give that a try. I'm going to watch. It might take a few moments for you to figure out what the heck is going on. It's a lot of pulling up with your core and a lot of pushing your shin into your right arm. Lisa, you can bend your left elbow a little bit. Good, now hoist it. Okay. So let's try to take it through a vinyasa. So we were here, and if this doesn't work for you, just meet us in downward dog. We came forward. We get the left knee up, that's no problem. Getting the left foot up, look where my butt has to go. It went from here up. Once my butt is up, the foot can come up, the knee can go to the elbow, and then I can jump back. So it's really about lifting up through your hips and through your low belly. And we'll meet in downward dog when you feel like, ya basta. Okay, let's jump through and have a seat so that we can do Krounchasana on side 2. So make a choice, right leg straight or right leg folds back. You could sit on the block if you want. Lift the left leg, grab hold, and start to bring it in as you feel comfortable. I usually have to reset my hips a time or two in this in order to keep the arch of the right foot close to the hip. You don't want it to migrate away from the hip because then you're putting some weird torque on that right knee. So we're gazing at the big toe, pointing the toes, and letting that shin come in, the foot kick up. This is the second pose in second series. Okay, let's extend the leg out. And bend it in, lift your butt, and rock forward. I'm just shaking out my knee for a moment because Virasana was tough on this side. Okay, so getting into your Bhekasana, we've done this many a time. Doesn't make it easy, but you know where it's going. So your left armpit is on your shin bone. Your left knee is out a little bit. Your left foot is in. And we shift the weight, drag that right knee in, lift the right foot. Have a conscious thought, put the knee on the arm. And try it for like another 30 to 60 seconds. Because it never works the first time. Think about hoisting your hips up a little higher. Yes. Oh, easy side. Interesting. Good. So when we were doing those forward bends earlier, you had to draw your belly in, but it sort of did it automatically. Now it's the same thing. It's just that you have to do it more on your own. There's nothing really naturally helping you in this pose. All right. Good. So when you've had enough of such things, downward dog, armpits lift, fingers press down so that your chest can move closer to your legs. And if you get used to doing a downward dog like this, it's possible that your Urdhva Mula Supta will start to feel better. Everything is related. Okay, let's walk the hands back to the feet. Bend the knees, roll up nice and slow. And when you get there, we'll bring our right leg out in front and we'll try to hold on to the big toe. So the way that I just gripped it was I had my leg come up to meet my hand. You don't have to do it that way. You can bend your knee, get your grip, and then extend the leg out. Left hand is either going to stay on your hip or it can go to a wall to help you with balance. Let's bring the leg out to the side. Push through the ball of your foot. Let's get the standing leg a little bit straighter. Good. And bring the leg center again. Left hand to the pinky toe edge of the foot and twist. Right arm either reaches back or sometimes it's nice to put it on the hip and gently push the hip down. Look back if you can. Okay, let's untwist. We're going to hold the foot with both hands. You can grip it kind of however you want. We're going to fold over that leg. So think of drawing the belly in. So there's some space there. You can lift the leg up or you can fold down further, whichever is kind of more achievable for you at the moment. We might even bring the head to meet the shin bone. We'll lift the head up. Let's interlace the fingers underneath the thigh, point the toes. Shoulders over hips. Okay, fire up that right leg. Keep it where it is, hands to the hips. Good, and let it go. Dang, that's a hard pose. So that's in primary series, and it never gets easy. Okay, left side. So you could reach your left hand out and have your foot come meet it, or whichever way you want. It is a little tough to get the yogi toe lock grip when you're lifting the leg straight, because there's this moment of kind of the leg is high. There's no assistance yet. Let's think about the standing leg straight and rotating in. Okay, left leg out to the side. Gaze to the right if you can. Okay, leg to the center again. Twisting, so the right hand to the pinky toe side of the foot. Left hand to the hip or reach back. Gaze back if you can. Lisa, standing leg straighter. Yes, ma'am. Pretty much every time I say standing leg straight, I'm talking to Lisa. The rest of y'all are doing it. Okay, let's untwist. Two hands to the foot, so you can have your wrists crossed or not. Really, traditionally, we would just be holding big toe with left hand. But it's easier if we have two hands, because then we have more support of the leg, and we can think more about drawing the belly in and rounding the back in order to get the head and shin to connect. I did a lot of dancing on that side. Okay, so we'll rise up, fingers interlace under the thigh, just to get us used to where our shoulders should be, where our legs should be, and then hands to hips. Holy moly. So your right glutes and thigh is working like mad, and then let it go. Shake it out. Ooh la la. Okay. Let's reach up for the inhale, fold forward, exhale, and walk yourself into downward dog. Right leg up, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. Let's just find warrior two to start. Okay, Parsvakonasana with a bind. We'll bring our right shoulder inside of the knee. We'll bend that right elbow so the knuckles can go by the hip. Palm facing out, left hand or left wrist plumps down into that open right palm. Feel free to half bind or not bind. You should feel something in your right hip. Take one more breath. And release your hands so you can walk your foot into pigeon. That right knee will come down. And let's bring our head down, either to the mat or to your forearms. Hands anywhere you want them to be. Just try to feel something in your right hip. Okay, let's come to downward dog. Just step that right foot back. We'll walk the hands back to the feet. We're gonna bind around the inside of this right leg. So we'll bend that right knee. I even like to lift the heel off the ground in order to get the shoulder inside of the knee and wrap around. Once you have your bind, straighten both legs. Press your right heel into the floor. You might not be able to get your right leg straight all the way. We're just gonna think about getting it straight. And we'll twist to look over the left shoulder. And as you attempt to straighten the right leg, it's a similar feeling to like a Kurmasana, where your shoulder is affected by the strength of your leg. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Walk forward into plank and vinyasa. And we'll do all of that on side two. The left leg will step forward. We'll find warrior two. It should be pretty comfy in warrior two. If you have any issues, maybe just address that and you don't bother with binding. When you can, left shoulder inside of the knee. Right arm comes around the back. So that left elbow is bent quite a bit so that the bind is happening near your left hip, kind of the hip joint where like you feel the crease meeting your thigh. And that will become very important in something like Paschimottanasana. Which I'm not sure that we're doing today, but at some point in your life, you'll need a Paschimottanasana. And you'll need your shoulder to be ready. Okay, let's unravel the arms. Take it to pigeon. You decide how deep it goes and where your head goes. Well, I could stay here all day. This feels amazing. But alas, we have other sides and other things. Okay, let's step back and walk the hands back to the feet. We'll bind around the left leg. So that left arm is coming through the legs, the shoulder inside of the knee. And then it's pretty much the same thing you did. And again, we have to get the hands more over to the hip, so it's not by your butt. We twist and look over that right shoulder, and any amount we can, we straighten the left leg. It's also like the same as a Tippy-Vasana balance. That same kind of feeling between your shoulder and your knee and inner thigh. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Walk it forward and vinyasa. Okay, right foot forward. Let's lower the back heel just for the sake of getting into a bind, and then we're going to change the back leg. So we'll bind up that right leg. We'll step the left foot forward, but not super close to the right foot, because we need space for our right shoulder. So I have like 12 inches here between the inside edges of the feet. And when you can, lift your right heel, maybe your whole right leg. To bird of paradise we go. We'll start to straighten that leg some amount. You can look over the left shoulder if you want. If you're not comfy in the bind, you can repeat what we did earlier, where you hold your foot and you extend the leg out. Those of you bound, bend your right knee, keep your bind as you lower your foot, then unravel yourself and step back, vinyasa. If you're not doing vinyasa, just do something that gives you a little bit of a break or some movement in the spine, maybe like a tabletop with cat-cow. Okay, left foot forward, right heel down. So first you would get comfy in the bind, and then you'd step your back foot forward. Then you'll start to power up your right leg so that you can stand. Getting the left leg straight is just a constant work. Constant through this 5 breaths, constant through the decades. If you're bound, keep it as you bring your foot down again. Then unravel and vinyasa. Okay, jump through, have a seat. I'm gonna move my computer down to the ground. And let's find Marichyasana C. We'll bend the right knee. Get the heel pretty close to your sitting bone. Before we twist, just sit up straight and make sure that you can sit up. This thigh and chest are very close together, touching, if you will. Okay, so we'll keep that close relationship. We'll just bring it so that the left boob is close to the thigh instead of the right. And then if you can, hook your arm and get your left boob outside of the thigh so that it's free. It's not stuck on your thigh. It's actually facing the long edge of your mat, it being your left boob. So I usually pick up my right hand here, the back hand, and I hold onto the thigh in order to get a better hook. And once you can, get your left thumb down toward the floor, wrap it around your shin, and lift up your right hand so your hands can hold, or maybe your left hand goes to your right wrist. Let's push our right knee to the right, sit up a little taller, breathe deeply so you feel your ribs expand, even though there's this restriction of your thigh right there. Okay, let's unravel. Ooh-wee. And let's vinyasa out of there so that we have some spine movement before the other side. And maybe you do the cat-cows again if you do not want a vinyasa. Okay, come through, have a seat. Side 2. So now the left heel is close to your left sitting bone. We'll just sit tall for a moment. Try to feel your bandhas come on, your abs lifting up, so that you could do this without arms, so that you're holding yourself up with the core. And when you can, hug your knee to your right shoulder. Now your left boob is easily free. Now we have to work on getting the right boob over to the left. So starting with that elbow hooking, that might be enough. I need to bring the back hand to the thigh and do a little more negotiation. You could also bring your left hand to your torso and move yourself manually that way. When you can, roll your right shoulder forward so your thumb goes down. Get your elbow to bend in front of your shin bone. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Vinyasa or just come to downward dog. And we'll do a parivrtta Parsvakonasana with a bind. So let's bring the right foot down, or in front and down. Right foot forward, let me just say that. Okay, left knee down for balance assist. Left arm up and over. And just like you did in your Marichyasana C a moment ago, you gotta get your armpit over that thigh. Boobs facing the side. If your left boob is stuck, you need to adjust. Literally move it so it's facing the long edge of your mat and they're free. Either prayer or arms like this, up and down, or find your bind. Left arm under, right arm over. Lift the back knee when you're ready. Maybe spin your back heel to the floor. Whatever you've chosen, now swing your right hip back, because it's very tempting to get that right hip swinging out to the side. Take 2 more breaths here. And let's unravel vinyasa. Okay, left foot forward, right knee down. So if you do have any aspirations for binding, that torso situation has to be on point first. So deal with that first, and then you can decide, do you want a prayer twist or some other arm situation? But you need your chest to face the side of the mat in order for the more advanced arm situations to be possible. Decide if you want your back heel up or down. Carry, push your top hand harder into your bottom hand. Chest up higher. Good, and let's unravel and get out of there, vinyasa. Okay. So of course we're going to attempt kind of a twisted bird of paradise type of thing. If that is not appropriate for you, repeat the twisted standing balance we did earlier. Let's step our right foot forward. We'll bind around that right leg like we did moments ago. Not as tight of a bind as you normally would have. Then just like you entered your bird of paradise earlier, you'll step your back foot forward. but not right next to your foot. You need some space there. Then right heel up, right toes up, right leg up. We stand up, and we potentially choose to extend the leg out. So it's sort of the same elements as Bird of Paradise, it's just twisted. Let's return to the lunge. Keep your bind as you step your left foot back. And let's meet in pigeon again with the right leg in front. In this pigeon, let's put the left hand on the left foot, the right hand on the right thigh. Push down with the hands. And we'll get our chest up. Shoulders back. And just feel the shoulders move back in a way that is helping you return to a more kind of condensed, integrated place. Because sometimes those binds, it feels like you've just ripped your arm out of the socket. So now you need to kind of settle back into something that feels safe and comfortable. Potentially, you could keep your position with your arms up. Just see, do you have the strength in the legs to do that? If not, just play with the idea of one day lifting your hands up. It's a lot of scissoring the legs so that you don't fall onto your right butt cheek. Okay, let's meet in downward dog, vinyasa or not. We have our other side for this twisted bird of paradise, or however you want to work on it. You also might just work on the lunge again, the twisted lunge, or binding the lunge. Or you might work on a standing balance that has the twist. Wherever you think your benefit would come from. So if you're in the twisted lunge, make your grip a little loose. And just make your way into it. All of our paths are going to lead to pigeon. That's a nice place to wind up. Right hand to the foot, left hand to the thigh. Notice that there's some space here between your pelvis and the ground. When you take your hands away, keep the space. So you have to squeeze your thighs together in order to lift yourself up. That's the same kind of thing you would have to do in a lot of the arm balances. You're basically making space by defying gravity. It takes so much work. Okay, let's vinyasa. We'll meet in downward dog. Okay, let's come through and have a seat. One more shouldery thing, but also hippie thing. First, let's baby cradle the right leg, just to prep. In a moment, we'll be coming into a half lotus, but it will be optional, of course. This is a great prep for it because you're pulling this foot essentially toward you as this knee moves away from you. Okay, so either half lotus, heel to belly button, foot to top of thigh, or go for Janu Sirsasana, sole of foot to thigh. And then we'll reach forward with our left hand. Right hand's gonna come behind the back. And for today, if you're in Janu Sirsasana, still reach your right hand behind you. It's just gonna grab onto your shirt or your thigh because your foot is not there. And see if you can have your right arm behind you, but still reach your right armpit toward your left foot. It's kind of a counterintuitive thing because if your right arm's behind you, the torso thinks, oh, I should spin open to the side. But in fact, you are not. You're squaring to the floor. Okay, let's rise up, undo the legs, and just change sides. Baby cradle the left leg. And as you're doing this, you're essentially prepping for getting into Lotus with no hands, which is something we're going to try in a few minutes. The key element there is this knee has to move away from you. If it's constantly real close to you, when you go to do a Lotus with no hands, it's going to be in your way. So you need to figure out how to push it out, even as the shin is coming in. Sort of like pigeon, just amped up a little bit. Okay, so either half Lotus or sole of foot to right thigh. We reach the left arm behind us, and we fold square over that right leg, which in fact is a little bit of a twist. You can think of it as belly button toward your knee, or the cue I gave you on the other side was armpit toward your foot. Another way I like to think of it is right ribs up, left ribs down. That helps me square up. Okay, let's rise up, let that go. Vinyasa. Okay, one more little prep thing for our Lotus with no hands. Let's walk our hands back to our feet. Bend the knees and roll up nice and slow. And let's do that baby cradle action again, but standing. So we'll stand on the left leg, we'll pick our right leg up, and we'll just hold it somewhere, maybe the ankle. I'm gonna attempt to put my foot in my elbow, but I may abort mission. Let's see how that goes. So if I have my foot in my elbow, it's really hard to stand up straight, but it's kind of fun to decide. Okay, so we'll go for half Lotus here and have our knee point down. If this is not for you, go for figure 4, flying pigeon, and come into your hip stretch there. If you are in your half Lotus, fold forward. Let's bring both hands to the floor so that you don't have to deal with balance too much, and you'll feel your heel press into your belly, just to the side of your belly button. Try to relax a little bit through the belly so that you can get your head a little bit closer to your shin. Let's come halfway up, inhale. Stay there for the exhale, and come the rest of the way up. If you're in flying pigeon, just come on up and let it go. Okay, other side. Right leg down. Make sure that this foot, the foot that's going to stay down, is not facing out to the side. Straight forward. Baby cradle. So I'm going to start with the ankle just so I know, okay, how does this feel? Do I want to bring it to the elbow? Ideally, that foot would just come up, but I do have to lean forward a little bit because, you know, leg is attached. One day I will stand up straighter here. This is kind of imitating a third series pose where you put your foot behind your head and then you stand up. Okay. So if you're going for half Lotus, aim your heel to your belly button, literally, touch it. Then you can get your knee to point down. And this foot, this left foot is pointed and pressing into your leg so that your half Lotus can stay there without your hands. When you're ready, fold forward. If you're in flying pigeon, go as deep as you can and want to. Those of you in your half Lotus, as you're folding, try to keep your knees level to each other. So the one that's in half Lotus, don't let it fly back too much. It's like you're squeezing your knees in toward each other a little bit. If you're folded, come halfway up for your inhale. Stay for your exhale. This is so you don't get dizzy, and then come the rest of the way up. But sometimes if you're folded and you come up real fast, woo, things get spinny. Okay, shake out the legs. And let's just meet in downward dog. So you can get there however you want. Okay, so I think our time has come. We cannot delay anymore. Let's jump through and have a seat. And we'll lay back, take out your buns and your ponytails because we are going to shoulder stand so that we can see our legs as we try to lotus up. Because in headstand, you can't see anything. So let's just lift to shoulder stand first. We're going to do this more than once, so don't worry. And you might need to watch first if you've never done this. So from your shoulder stand, your right leg will come to your half lotus. The left leg will bend and you'll wiggle until you get your right foot all the way into the hip crease. Then this right knee, I have to push up to the ceiling so that it's out of the way, and then the left foot can come in. If this right knee is dropped in toward my body, there's nowhere for this left foot to leap. So the knee has to get out of the way. So give that a try to see how it goes. I'm going to watch. There's a lot of wiggling that happens to get into lotus until one day there's not. The lifting of the knee is a very hip flexibility thing. So go slow as you do that so that you don't hear any pops and cracks. Sometimes pops are good, but being aggressive to get into lotus is not a good time to hear a pop. Okay, let's undo whatever legs you have. Bring your knees to your chest. Place the palms down and just roll down to your back nice and slow. Okay, good. And once you get down to your back, let's just bring the soles of the feet to the floor and just find a neutral back. So we're not smushing the spine down, but we're not arching. A little blueberry or a grape could fit under your spine. And keep all that. Just lift your right leg up to the ceiling. And if anything changed in your back, it means you just need to pay more attention to your core. Draw the belly in, but don't smush down and don't lift up. So keep your attention on your spine and just extend your right leg out in front as low as you want. If you start to lose the shape of your spine, you've gone too low. Let's bring it up again and turn your foot out so it's like a more ballet position, and bring your leg out to the side, maybe 6 or 12 inches. But don't let your weight all shift. Don't let your body rock. Keep your attention on the neutrality that you already established, and bring your leg in again. Let's just do that one more time. Extend out and down. This time your knee is pointing up toward the ceiling. You're square, and lift the leg up. And turn the leg out from the hip joint and out to the side some amount. And bring it in. We'll just lower the foot and then do the left side. I move my hands onto the lowest ribs just so that I know kind of if I'm cheating. You can feel if you're cheating from the spine on the floor too. Okay, extend the left leg out, however low you want to go, but be honest with yourself. Don't let your back arch too much. Not at all. Not changed from neutral. Bring the leg up, spin it out to the side, extend out. Bring it in, square up, extend along the mat. Obviously, the lower you go, the more tempting it is to arch. Lift the leg up, spin out from the hip, leg out to the side just a little bit, not so much that you're falling over. And bring the leg up, lower the foot down. Okay, so feel that neutral and extend both legs out along the mat. And we'll do our best to keep the feeling of neutral. It's not going to be quite the same in Tanaka Mudra. So the arms by the sides, point the toes, glue the legs together. And we're going to try to feel like our lowest ribs and our pelvis are creating a pool. Basically, your guts are the fluid of the pool. And we're thinking about bringing our back to the floor, but it will not be down because that would not be neutral. So you just think of drawing it down so that you're not overarched. Okay, from here, we'll lift the legs up and lift up to your shoulder stand. We'll bring the hands as close to the shoulder blades as we feel comfortable. Let's keep one leg up high. We can see it clearly with our eyeballs. And lower the other leg to your split, to halasana, so that the toes might even come all the way down to the floor behind your head. So you're still staring at your top leg. Rotate from the hip so your kneecap faces straight back, not out to the side at all. Bring the bottom leg up and change. So you're in basically split on the other side. Bottom leg up. Let's bring the top, or I shouldn't say top, let's bring the right leg to the left hip crease. Let that foot move along the left thigh until you can get your right foot to your left hip crease. And then decide, is this enough or do you want full lotus? If you want full lotus, you just have to move that right knee up to get the left foot in. And when you can, hands are going to come to the knees. Now you're just balanced on your shoulders and your head, of course, but the majority of the weight is on the shoulders. And we'll press with our hands so that our arms get straight. And we're using a lot of Mula Bandha here to keep our body up. It's not just the strength of your arms. Let's start to bend the elbows. Bring your knees toward your shoulders. Give yourself a little hug. And keep your body there, but release your hands down to the mat. Let's roll down like you did before, but this time keeping your legs crossed however they are. Go as slow as you can to get down to your back. And once you're down, we're going to hold the feet if you're in lotus, or if you're in half lotus, or sort of hold in that vicinity. And we're going to prop up on the elbows and come to the crown of the head, or fish pose, Matsyasana. If you're in lotus, you can literally pull your feet higher toward your hip creases so your lotus gets more tight. Let's undo the legs, extend them out about 45 degrees, arms out, extended prayer. Ideally, the arms and legs are parallel to one another, but that's not really something that you can judge from your point of view right now. Take one more breath, chest up higher. And bring the knees in, untuck your head, and just come to your back. Roll a little bit side to side. Okay, while we're down here, let's place the soles of the feet down, knees pointing up, and let's lift the hips so we're in a Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Let's roll the shoulders under the back. So remember when you had your lotus and your legs were up and you were pushing your arms to straight, you really felt a lot of weight in your shoulders. In this pose, try to, again, feel a lot of weight in the shoulder so that you're supported and you can get your hips up a little higher, and then you wind up stretching through your hip flexors a little more. Okay, let's come on down, undo your arms, and let's just roll to one side, sit up, and vinyasa. Usually shoulder stand would come at the end of a sequence. It's part of the finishing poses. But we stuck it in so that we could use our lotus in that way, and then we could transition to backbends. Either come to down dog B, or fix your hair and put your bun or ponytail back in. The logistics of a practice. Okay, once your ponytail is in, return to your down dog B. And let's make this Anahatasana. Knees down, we walk the knees back a little bit, and we drop the chest. And as you're dropping the chest, your armpits might come low as also, but think of still that shape you had in down dog where you were lifting your armpits toward the ceiling, even as your chest went through. Okay, and let's meet in a nice normal downward dog. Okay, to nudge into our shoulders a little bit more, let's go for Baddha Hasta Sirsasana A. We're just going to interlace the fingers. We'll just stay for a few breaths and potentially chaturanga out of there, but you could also just lower your legs again. You don't have to do anything really fancy to get out. So when you interlace your fingers and you lift your legs up, you're going to press into the edge of your hand and your wrist, your entire forearm and your elbow. When you want to change your arms for a chaturanga, you have to loosen your grip so that your fingers are free agents. I like to move the hands and legs at the same time. I just think it's a little easier. And we meet in downward dog. Okay, let's rock forward to plank. And we'll lower down to the belly. Sphinx pose. We'll just prop ourselves up on the forearms. And while we're here, let's notice that our pubic bone is down and our hip bones are down equally right and left. So we're not leaning to either side. Let's bring our left hand to replace our right elbow. So it just comes across. And reach the right hand back for the inside of the foot. Pull the foot toward you. Potentially bhekasana grip. But with this left hand and left forearm, push down so your chest is coming up. And bring your attention again to your hips. Because now that we're dealing with this right hip flexor, it's very tempting to rock over to the left side. So instead we need to err on the side of pushing the right hip down more so that we are balanced. Okay, let that go. Come to Sphinx again, just to make sure that you're still honest with your squareness. And then the other side, right hand comes across, left hand comes back. You don't have to take bhekasana grip in order to get that foot to come in toward you. Okay, let's let that go. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, let's go for Baddha Hasta C. If A was enough, repeat A. C position, we just have our palms flat. And then it's pretty much the same after that. I feel very stiff, so I'm going to go one leg up at a time. If you can, go two legs up at once. It does take a certain degree of back flexibility to go two legs up at once. Your exit could be into a child's pose or through chaturanga. Good. If you go through chaturanga, just make sure you don't end up on your belly. The vinyasa continues. Good. And I know it's tiring, but you know, you'll be okay. Let's go knees, chest, and chin. So it would be like some schools of yoga, they would put this in every Surya Namaskar. So as you feel comfortable here, you might want to walk your knees in more. You might even want to interlace your fingers behind your back and lift your forearms up off your butt. This takes a lot of openness in the throat, which you did in your fish pose earlier. Okay, let's slither ourselves forward. Holy. And let's go for Dhanurasana. We'll reach back for the ankles, point the toes, and let's kick. Maybe you could bring your big toes to touch, maybe also the inside of your heel. If that hurts your back, just separate your feet. Kick in a way that helps you feel an opening in your chest. Okay, let's get out of there. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Okay, so we'll attempt a Baddha Hasta C into a Stanuyasana. So it's really the headstand staying in everything the same, except your head's gonna come off the floor and you're gonna push your armpits back. It's tough, so potentially put a wall behind you. Most of the time, if you fall out of it, you will go into a child's pose. So again, I just came up one leg at a time because of the stiff factor, but if you can, go 2 legs at once. And when you decide it's time to pick your head up off the floor, your view is going to stay the same. Squeeze your legs together. And it feels like the armpits are moving toward the back edge of the mat. And when you've had enough of that, just come to downward dog B, and we'll meet there. We'll get to try that again soon, have no fear. I know it's hard. It's very tiring for the shoulders. Okay, let's come to the shins. And we'll go for Ustrasana. And we're gonna hold it for 10 breaths. If you get dizzy, come up sooner. And if you have a wall, put it in front of you and try to push your hips into the wall. Reach back for your heels. Your toes can be tucked or untucked. And as you feel comfortable, you let your head drop back, but your eyes go toward the tip of your nose. Not to the point of making you cross-eyed, but you'll basically be looking up at your ceiling. Keep pushing the hips forward. Take 3 more breaths. Watch. Oh, this looks very nice. Carol, elbows in a little more. Yes. Good. And rise up on your inhale so that you can step back to downward dog, exhale. Okay, let's try one more time our Baddha Hasta C into Stanuyasana. And I'm going to show you with my feet down, just the exaggerated motion of your shoulders. It doesn't really look like this, and I can't do it if my feet are up in such a dramatic way. So if your head is down, your shoulders would be like here, and then when you go to lift up, they'd be back here. So it's this action, but not nearly this big. And you get that action by pushing into your fingers. So give it a try. At all points, glue your legs together and work your legs, which seems crazy because they're in the air. They're not helping you you would think, but they are very helpful. They have to come with you when you lift your head. Carol, try that again. Anouk, this looks pretty good. Now lift your head more and armpits toward the center of your room. Legs toward the wall a little more. It's a very fine line with those legs, I know. Okay. And let's just rest for a few breaths in child's pose. And in this particular child's pose, let's put the arms in front of us so that it keeps our arms sort of in the mindset of a back bend. Okay, let's rise up and either practice Ustrasana again or come down to Supta Virasana. I know this will not work for everyone's knees. So if this does not work for you, come into one of the other back bends we did. If you are coming into this, let's go Urdhva Mula. So as you come down to the head, lift your butt up. You can have your arms wherever you want. You're going to be working your feet to get your butt up. Chest is lifted, throat is open. Take 2 more breaths there. I want to see who chose what. Okay, very good. And then somehow melt yourself down again so that you can walk yourself up for your Virasana normal. And then if this is not comfortable for you to watch something, do something else with your legs. Otherwise, you could stay there. So we're just going to play with legs for a moment. And I want you to pay attention in this demo, which maybe I will pull off, maybe I won't. We're going to try to get our awareness on where are the hips in relation to the feet. So I'm looking toward the back of my mat right now. Now I'm going to start to arch more, and I'm going to look forward. My feet are reaching toward what would be a wall behind me, but I don't have a wall, but I can think of reaching to the wall. But my hips are moving away from the wall. If the hips don't move away from the wall as the feet move toward it, I will not be able to stay in the balance. So often what I see on this tiny little screen is the hips and feet are not talking to each other. So give it a try. Stanuyasana into Pincha mayurasana. So Stanuyasana is just your forearm stand with your head dropped so that you're looking back. It is way harder Stanuyasana than Pincha. So if it's too much, just do your Pincha. But I want you to pay attention to the shape that your whole body makes. So your hips moving in the opposite direction of your feet. Carry, your hips need to go like 6 more inches. And you might want to think about it as your ribs need to go to the scary place, Miss Carrie. Okay, that was good. Hey now. Okay. So let's rest for a moment. However that works for you. We're going to do a little neck shoulder stretch. So we'll take the left hand and try to get our fingers into the armpit. So you'll probably need your right hand to help you get it there. If you just do it on its own, it'll end up real low, like on your waist. So go as high up as you can, and the fingers are facing the ceiling, not to the side. So as much as you can, get in that position, and then we're just gonna drop our right ear to the right shoulder. Ouch! It hurts so much. Okay, try to breathe. You might want to angle your chin down toward your shoulder or your chin up. You'll find the sweet spot for you. But it is good to do stuff like this kind of every day. You can do it while you're watching TV. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. Just loosen up. Okay, and try the other side. Might take a lot for your wrist to get in this position. So maybe it does have to be lower on your waist for a while. This side doesn't hurt me as much, so I'm going to have my left hand come over to the right ear and give a little extra weight. So you sort of tailor every pose to suit you on this particular Friday morning. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there, shake it out. Okay, let's come on to our backs. And we're going to go for tippy toe fish, but let's do one Urdhva Chandrasana first. So heels will be sort of close to you, so that when you come up, you feel like you can push. Those of you choosing Urdhva Chandrasana, let's just come down to the crown of the head for a moment. Check that your elbows are in. That might mean that you have to move your hands a little further apart. And plug your arms into the sockets, press into your feet, roll a little more toward your forehead, and now come up again, Urdhva Chandrasana. See if it feels any different. Okay, then we'll come on down. So tippy toe fish is similar, but not. So for that, we'll have our heels closer to our butt, our feet together. And then when we come up, we're actually going to scoot forward. So we wind up with our knees down. It's kind of nice for the quads. You might need to check in that your elbows are in, which again might mean you need to make your hands go wider. Good. And to get your knees all the way to the floor, you have to get your hips pretty high. Okay, very good. Come on down. And let's meet in down dog B. And you might want to just stay there. Or we're going to come into some very calm Pincha mayurasanas. And I'll just show you, or you can just listen because we've done this before. We'll bring one foot, toe to inner knee. We'll extend by sliding that leg up the inseam of the straight leg. And then we'll bring the other leg in so the toes touch that inner knee. And we'll do the same thing on that side, sliding it up. And then bringing the other one in. And you'll just alternate like that. You'll probably only get a chance to alternate like twice before you get tired and want to come down. But it's very calm, steady. You always know where your limbs are. Nice, Carrie. You overcame it. So if your top leg had been a little straighter, it might have stayed up longer. You still might have ended up on the couch, but you might have had a little more airtime. And when your top leg is bending, the or whatever, the bottom leg is bending, the top one has to be stronger. So Miss Anouk, when you're in that position where one knee is close in, the other leg has to reach more so that you can stay longer. Okay. So wrap up whatever you're in, and we're going to meet in just a regular downward dog. So Anouk, keep reaching with that top leg. Keep reaching now with that other leg, that's the top leg. Yes, good. Okay, so from downward dog, let's walk hands back to feet. Just bend the knees and dangle for a moment. Shake out the head and neck. And you decide, do you want Padangushthasana, big toe grip? Do you want Anahatasana, hands under feet? Or crisscross applesauce? We did all of these 90 minutes ago. So just choose one, take a few breaths there. Let's release the grip, have a squat first. We will come to sitting soon. But first, just squat to help round the back a little more. And butt down. Let's cross the legs, possibly lotus, possibly not. If you are in lotus, go right leg first. And then that right knee down to the floor, just like you had to move it out of the way earlier. Now moving it out of the way means down. And if you're in full lotus, wrap your left arm around your back, hold your foot. Then wrap your right arm around, hold your other foot. And if you're not in lotus, just hold opposite elbows and let's fold forward. And wherever you are in this fold, draw your belly in so that you, in essence, push your mid-back into your forearm. Give yourself a little relief. Let's rise up, release your grip. Let's just either have the hands in the lap or in prayer. Let's take an Om all together. Inhale. And when you're ready for Shavasana, you can lay back. You could also stay sitting. Shavasana deserves as much attention as your more physically demanding poses. We'll just watch like a third person. We'll just watch your muscles relax, your bones settle into the floor, your breath slow down. Take a few more breaths here. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, however you like to. Start rising up. Let's bring the hands together, thumbs between the eyebrows. Inhale. Fold any amount forward, exhale. Namaste.